Welcome back, everyone. We are now at my third property, fourth unit, and we just closed on it the other day. And even though it's less than 1,000 square feet, even though it's only 2 bedrooms, it's actually extremely significant because it brings my portfolio past the $1 million mark. In fact, the total portfolio now of all real estate combined is more than $1.1 million. And in this video, I want to tell you and show you exactly how I was able to buy over $1 million worth of real estate in under 1 year and all at the age of 21. See you at the studio. In this video, we're going to unpack everything and go into great detail, so let's get started and dive right in. But before we do, as always, make sure you folks do a couple things for me. Number one, give this video a tremendous thumbs up, smash the like button if you have been enjoying and appreciating the content that we do for you every single solitary week. And if you want to see more from the channel and get updated every single solitary time we do post a brand new video, make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. Once we hit 20,000 subscribers, we'll do another cash giveaway. We'll give away double the amount of cash that we gave away at 10K. With that being said, let's get started and get right down to it. So we don't necessarily have to start with fresh out of the womb, but I think we could fast forward to 11, 12, 13 years old, not necessarily knowing much about investments, but starting to make my first few dollars here and there, whether it was just selling items on eBay or doing magic shows, as I am also a magician, and saving that cash, keeping it safe in a bag under the mattress, but not necessarily doing anything with that money or putting it to use. Now fast forward to 14, 15, 16 years old, still stacking money, whether it was from doing magic shows or now doing drop shipping on eBay, selling handmade items on eBay. And I remember distinctly opening up that first bank account with $250, which was the world at the time, felt like I was the king of the planet, but also now trying to get into how I can actually grow my money and in a quick way. So I was hooked on the promise of high return investments, whether it was from pyramid schemes or wasting all my money on penny stocks and blowing up accounts while in high school. And yes, also doing betting, whether it was the lottery or horse racing. I did it all and lost a boatload of cash. So now jumping to about 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, I did not go to college. I didn't want to touch another second of school, knowing that it was absolutely not for me. And I said to myself, I will only do long-term investments now. So every nickel, every single penny I made, I put into the stock market, and mainly blue chip stocks, REITs, and a couple S&P 500 index funds. I just hoarded everything I made and poured it into the market, living somewhat frugally, but uber confident in my ability to print and make money on command, whether it was from email marketing, drop shipping, affiliate marketing. I just took everything I made and poured it into stocks, and I could have easily pulled the trigger on a high expense like a Rolex watch or something of the sort, but I didn't do it. I said to myself, this is exactly the plan I'll be doing for the next 40, 50 years. Just everything I make, put it into the stock market, and I'll have a good sum, maybe 7, 8 figures by the time I'm ready to retire. But then the pandemic hit, the stock market tanked, and luckily the market did recover. And so thankfully I did not panic sell and lock in those losses. So I got all that money back. However, I did lose a lot of projected income and regular consistent income that I will never ever get back. But once again, I truly believe that the pandemic was an event that I gained a ton of wisdom from and made me even stronger. So I reevaluated my streams of income, tried to get back as much as I could, and also added additional streams of income to hopefully fill some of those voids, but still my income is not nearly where it was pre-pandemic, and that is totally okay. A lot of people suffered greatly, but these are valuable lessons that we could learn from and build from. But I knew it was time to jump into something that I've never done before, and that was real estate. The only experience I had with real estate previously was just putting money into an REIT, which is a real estate investment trust, and also playing around with Fundrise. I did a video a few years ago talking about Fundrise, but it's nowhere near close to actually owning the hard cold asset and gaining all the benefits that come with owning the real estate. Now, I had been learning a lot about real estate throughout high school, whether it was from videos, courses, books, forums, and groups. In fact, I remember vividly reading Art of the Deal instead of the book that we were supposed to read in English. I had that on the desk instead. But I knew it was time to jump in. Interest rates were extremely low and appealing, especially compared to where they are right now. So I revisited all those old books that I hadn't picked up in a couple years, and I watched and watched hours and hours of videos and courses and read and studied as much as possible and started to learn how to obtain a mortgage and learn about financing a deal and everything that goes into actually purchasing a property. And that is where we get into my first deal, my first house. And I didn't even have any tax returns at the time. I was still being claimed as a dependent. So I actually had to go and file my 2019 and 2020 tax returns, which came with a ton of penalties and fees for doing it late. So that was quite expensive and really wiped me out. Now, as far as peak liquid money at the time, I had nearly $200,000 between my stock portfolios, and that obviously took a beating when I went to file those tax returns for both years because I had to show enough income to actually obtain that conventional mortgage for the first property. In all, it was about $45,000 in taxes, but I thought in the long term it would be worthwhile. Looking back, it might have not been the best idea. Maybe I could have written off a lot more income and instead gotten a DSCR loan instead of a conventional mortgage, but you know what? It's totally okay. You live and you learn. So that first property I bought for $213,000 after a $2,000 credit, and it has been almost exactly 1 year to the day since I bought it. I bought it in June of 2021, and it was just your standard conventional Freddie Fannie Mae loan, 20% down conventional, and already there's been a ton of appreciation with that deal. Just from last year to today, it's already gone up about 30-40% in value. I could easily sell it for a lot more than I paid for it, and it has proven to be extremely profitable and cash flows very well. It was rather turnkey. It wasn't a rehab by any stretch. Replaced the water heater and a few things here and there just from regular maintenance, but overall a pretty easy deal. I still had a good sum left over even after filing those taxes and even after purchasing that property. I had quite a lot of money still in stocks, and I knew I wanted to go bigger, so I knew the next deal, I didn't want to do 1 unit, I wanted to do at least 2. So for those of you who already watched my video talking about my second rental property, you would know that I had an offer in on another property many months ago, and unfortunately that deal fell through. It would have been an unbelievable deal. The plan was to do a lot of rehab with that property. It didn't need to be gutted, but it needed a lot of work and updating and renovation. But after that rehab, it truly would have been an unbelievable once-in-a-lifetime deal that would have been very worthwhile with my time, and I had the funds to do so. Unfortunately, it fell through, seller walked away, and that deal died. So I did find a property in my local area. It's only about 10 minutes away from me, whereas the first one is about an hour and a half away from me. And it's 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, very good location. I knew it was a decent price, and I knew that there was still some room for appreciation, and it cash flows quite well. I didn't qualify for a conventional mortgage on that property, so I used a special type of financing for the first time. I use a DSCR loan, which is a debt service coverage ratio loan. That's where the bank doesn't look at your income. They don't even care about your pay stubs or tax returns. They just want to see the asset, and they want to know, can this asset produce enough cash flow to cover the mortgage? And that answer was easily yes. So because it is a 2-family and not a single unit, in this case, you are required to put down 25% down on the property, and on $587,000 is the purchase price. You do the math, that is quite a lot of money with closing costs, and especially you have to pay a higher interest rate because it's a DSCR loan and not a conventional mortgage. Still, compared to today's interest rates and where they are right now, looking back in hindsight, that financing looks like a steal that I got on that property. All 3 units between the first property and the 2 units in the duplex are all occupied, and the tenants are paying, and everything is going quite well. And now that's when we get into my third property and 4th unit. I still had some liquid money left over, not nearly as much as I had pre-buying those 2 properties. However, a decent amount that could afford me a small single-family home. Now here's where I had to strategize a bit as far as getting the financing on the deal, because I knew that if I showed my 2021 tax returns, that it would show a tremendous dip in income, because I was going to write off as much income as possible and take advantage of depreciation when it comes to my rental payments and any other self-employment tax advantage that I could get. So what I actually did was I filed an extension on my 21 returns, so that way they can only look at my 2019 and 2020 tax returns and use that income. I could have obtained a DSCR loan for that third property. However, the interest rate was exorbitant, upwards of 7-8% I would have had to pay. I could have refinanced down the road and years from now, but obviously I want the best rate possible right here and right now, so that way I can get the most cash flow possible right now. And I haven't even checked what a DSCR loan is going for current present day. I would imagine it's nearly 10% at where we are right now. But interesting story with this deal, because it almost could have blown up completely and not happen. Here's why. What happened is when they initially pull your credit, that took place in around February, and that credit report is good for about 120 days. After that, they have to re-pull credit. So what happened is in between February when they pulled that credit and June when I ultimately closed on this property, my credit score absolutely tanked and hemorrhaged because of the second property, that loan, finally showed up on my credit report. And the reason for the delay is because the property has some open permits on it, so I tried to hold out and have those permits resolved. However, it just came down to crunch time, and I said, you know what, let's just close and get it done, because within just a few days after closing, I would have basically no longer qualified for this property, or would have had to use a DSCR loan where I would have been paying nearly double the interest rate, which I did not want to do. On top of that, the rate lock on my interest rate would have expired, and I would have had to pay a higher interest rate anyways, so it was just time to close, and I knew I had to get it done. So thankfully we got it done in time, and I just closed on that property just days ago. The third property, fourth unit, is not currently tenant occupied. We are in the process of obtaining a tenant. However, I got that deal for somewhat below market value because I jumped on it within a day of it being listed on the MLS. And so I actually think I got a pretty good deal on it, because looking at similar properties in that area, I don't think I could have gotten anything cheaper. This property I bought for $260,000, 20% down Freddie Mac loan, and everything comes full circle. Turns out it was actually beneficial. I filed those tax returns because I was able to use those 2019 and 2020 returns to show enough income to qualify for this mortgage and be able to obtain a better interest rate. What's also great is that they're able to use 75% of your rental income from your other properties towards your debt to income ratio on the mortgage you're looking to obtain, what's called the subject property. And so as you go through the process and you're buying more and more real estate, it becomes actually easier to qualify for a conventional loan, because you have to show less and less business income, or whatever your income is, whether it's a W-2, your salary, because now you can actually use that other rental income towards your debt to income ratio. But of course, you only have up to 10 conventional mortgages. You'll have to find other financing after that 10th property. So how do we reach that $1.1 million evaluation of the portfolio? How is that number figured? If you ask me, it's actually closer to 1.2 million. If you look at the market value, I really think these are conservative numbers, but let's just use these moderate, reasonable numbers in this case, and let's show you how we get to 1.1. So that first property, I know for an absolute fact I can sell it right now today for $270,000, probably more, but let's just say $270,000 for the low end. Now that second property, I actually had an appraisal done on it a couple months ago, because I just also closed on a HELOC, a line of credit, against that second property. That we'll talk about in a separate another video. So just so you know, I had an appraisal done on it, and it came out to be a $620,000 evaluation based on the rent I'm collecting and comparable sales in the area. I actually think I could sell it right now for $650,000, but again, let's just say $620,000 on the low end. And then that third property I just bought for $260,000. In my opinion, I bought it for a little bit below market value. I think I could actually sell it for $270,000 right now. But if we add up all those together, we get a grand sum of over $1.1 million. And that is exactly how I bought over $1.1 million worth of real estate in under 1 year. And the first property actually was at the age of 20, with the most recent two being not too long after the age of 21. And we're already looking at obtaining that fourth property, which would be 5+ units depending on what I do. I'm looking at potentially doing FHA loan, house hacking, and buying a duplex or triplex with a little down. So we'll see what happens. No promises just yet, but absolutely we are looking at obtaining another property using that HELOC that I got on that second property. Whenever I do a video like this, I always like to emphasize that it is not for braggadocious purposes solely. It is truly to help and inspire. I get a ton of DMs and comments on my videos telling me how much my content has actually inspired people to get into investing in real estate. And so I hope it truly does help you, and I hope you'll find value in the content. More real estate videos are to come. If you own any real estate, let us know down below in the comment section. When did you buy your first property? What do you currently own? Definitely let us know. I'm curious to hear. Let's have an open discussion. Tell us down below in the comment section. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get value out of it. If you did, give it a tremendous thumbs up. Smash that like button. I would appreciate that. Get the word out. Spread it on social media. Share it with a friend or two. And if you want to see more content from the channel, make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. That bell will notify you every time we do post a brand new video here. We post videos every single solitary week with no exceptions and no excuses. And if you want to get some free stocks, all me, all free, use the links down below in the description of this video. Sign up with the brokerage platforms, Robinhood and or Webull. You'll get some free stocks, some valued up to thousands of dollars in some cases. So let us know what stocks you get. And if you want to connect me on social media, I am on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Use the links down below. I look forward to meeting you there. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care for now.